Your next question is going to come from Catherine Owens. She's a student here at Roosevelt High School.
I'm going to stand if that's all right.
Go ahead.
Hello. How do you plan to deal with increasing issues in youth mental health in the U.S.?
We have a mental health crisis in this country. I'm very passionate about trying to help address it. My brother is a psychologist, to give you a sense. And I know out of 100 Americans that need treatment, probably only 5 to 10% of them are actually getting treatment right now. And there's a stigma attached to it that even though you think it's like, oh, you know, I shouldn't feel that stigma, but most people, when they're actually in that situation to seek help, a lot of people will resist doing so. So we have to make it so that you all feel comfortable seeking help. We have to get the resources in place. And there's a technology element to this where studies have shown that smartphones are actually increasing anxiety and depression among young people, teenage girls in particular. And my friends in Silicon Valley tell me that you have engineers that are trying to turn supercomputers or smartphones into dopamine delivery devices for teenage girls. And they're making millions of dollars doing it. But you know what they do when they go home? They say, no screens in my house and my family. So that gives you some insight into what's happening in our business world that's actually impacting mental health. Because then you see the trends among teenagers for anxiety and depression are at historic highs. And so if you want to try and address it, you have to get the resources in place. And I would actually make our mental health part of our economic measurements. Like, what good is GDP if we're getting sicker or sadder? But then you have to try and get into the root causes, which in this case can involve the fact that our capitalist system has run amok, and that includes the fact that tech companies have a very strong incentive to hypnotize us and a very low or non-existent incentive to make us stronger and healthier and mentally healthier.
So you were talking about resources, but where would those resources be? Would it be in schools, in the workplace, somewhere else?
Well, there are so many people that want to become therapists, counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists. There's no shortage of people that want to go into those fields. But we're artificially constraining the supply of those people through the way we're educating and training them. Mm-hmm. It's very expensive in many cases to try and seek that training, and you have to be some genius at tests to get into some of these programs. So what I would do is I would try and expand the supply over time of psychologists, counselors, therapists, social workers, and people that make us stronger. And I would reduce the cost of, I have many friends who are social workers, and I'll tell you, like, it's expensive to become a social worker, and then when you become a social worker, you don't get paid that much. Right now, our entire economy is geared towards turning us all into economic actors. So if you were to go to, like I went to law school, if you go to law school and you can emerge and get paid a lot of money, and trust me, I was a corporate lawyer for 5 months, and I was doing a lot less good than the average social worker, that's for sure. Like, you probably should have reversed those, those incentives. So that's the direction we have to move in. We have to actually try measuring our economic progress through our own health and wellness, and then invest massive levels of resources towards helping people who can help others get stronger.
So you see it as more of like a long-term solution, you'd say?
There are a lot of short-term things you can do. I mean, one thing we should do very, very quickly is lighten the emphasis on standardized tests in our schools and also in getting a lot of these programs. And I'll tell you all a true story. The SAT was invented during World War II to try and figure out which kids they did not want to send to the front lines. And now we're using it every year like every year is wartime. It does not make any sense. And it's artificially constraining the supply of people who want to do good in our society. It's bludgeoning so many kids to feel like, oh, I guess I'm not supposed to do certain things because what, the stupid test tells me I'm not supposed to? It really does not make any sense.
Let's get this bread, freedom dividend. Are all y'all paying attention? Automation gonna sweep the nation unless we get him in. Andrew Yang, 2020 freedom dividend. Climate change is real again. Science rules. Teachers bringing home some bread. Medicare for every citizen. That's nice. Andrew Yang, 2020 freedom dividend.